All right, we are live. We are done with the work week. Holy cow. Cheers to anybody that really put it out there this week because oh my gosh, I am completely exhausted after I don't know how many boats we hauled out this week at the boatyard, but it was literally insane. Just finished minutes ago launching one last lobster boat, and I have to go down and check it and make sure it's not sinking because it's sitting on our dock. The owner's not there. Normally, we don't ever launch boats without the owners actually there, but today we did, and just because it's Friday and we got to get out. But killed it this week. Holy cow, hands are filthy. I don't know if you can see that. And I smashed one of my fingers on a jack stand today. It was like the whole week was fine, and then bang, I smashed it. And last week I pinched one of my hands and had a bunch of blood blisters and all that sort of stuff. But luckily, right now, doesn't matter because it is Friday, and I was able to actually last night get the wiring all sorted out inside of the mast, which was absolutely epic for me. It's been a huge struggle. So right now the mast is off of Mighty Sparrow. It's luckily inside one of the paint shed buildings, which allows me to work on it when it's raining or whatever at night. Regardless, perk of the job. If you work at a boatyard, you definitely get some good get some good use of the facilities, and I can grab the tractor or whatever I need. Anyway, so the mast has just been an absolute bear. I had to end up ripping out every single last piece of wiring that was in there, and I found more pieces of conduit that were making all the noise. And hopefully, fingers crossed, once I get all of the wiring sorted out, then I will be able to test it, make sure all the new lights and everything work, and actually have like a steaming light, which legally you're supposed to have on a boat. Obviously, I don't use that out at sea, but if I'm coming into a port or something like that, it's obviously really nice to have. And then um, get all that tested, and then just clean it all up, wax all the filth, and get all the grease off, and get all the rust off of all the parts. And then next week, if we find a little time, I'll be able to go ahead and put the mast back up on Sparrow, so that job will be done. I do have a couple other little things I'm working on as well, but luckily, work wise, we have one more huge push next week to get as many boats out, and we're hauling between 7 and 10 or 11 boats every single day at this point. So it's sort of the peak of the haul out season, and having that hurricane pass by was kind of kicked people into gear, and so I think that's why we're having the big crunch right now. But once that slows down, then I should be able to have a little bit more time to work on Sparrow, because we're going in the water regardless within about a month. Yeah, I guess a month from today. Typically, I like to leave October 31st or November 1st because the hurricane season is officially over at that point. Still, it's this funny thing where you have the hurricane season ends, but that's when a lot of the big gales start to come off of Hatteras, and they start ripping their way up north. The Gulf Stream accelerates them, and it becomes a little bit of a gamble to set sail from a place like Maine, um, the way I do, which is typically I go straight out north of George's Bank, hit the Gulf Stream, ride that, and try and get out into the Atlantic a good ways offshore, and then start heading my way south. And I still don't even have like a game plan as far as where I'm going to go. There's essentially a few different options, but I'm hoping to be able to just set sail, let the winds take me where they will. I'm going to have tons of provisions on the boat. This is what I'm essentially going to. Essentially, this is all I'm going to do. So I'm going to set sail and I'm going to head east. And if I get over to the Azores and feel like stopping there, then I'm going to stop there. And if I don't feel like stopping, I'm going to head south and maybe stop in the Canaries. Or I'd really like to go and be able to see the Azores, even though I've been there a few times, then head south, see the Cape Verdes up close and personal. And then if things are going well and the sails are hanging in there and everything is okay, then I'm going to pretty much go into the South Atlantic Ocean, head down that way, and then maybe just touch the Southern Ocean so that I can go. I'd really like to see Tristan da Cunha, which is one of the most remote islands in the world. It's almost impossible to be able to actually stop there, just because it doesn't have a harbor or anything like that. The weather would have to be absolutely perfectly calm for me to be able to anchor. But if those conditions prevail, then great. If not, I'll just do a flyby and ride the northern edge of some of the Southern Ocean weather over towards the Cape of Good Hope, and then go from there. Either turn up and go back north and visit St. Helena in the South Atlantic, and then maybe Ascension Island, and then cruise up towards the Caribbean, and who knows. But it's kind of one of the nice parts about having a boat that's as seaworthy as the West Sail 32 is that you essentially can go wherever you want. And if you feel like it, you can set sail as long as you have the provisions and everything is okay, and you can go ahead and just take off and visit places you've never been. So that's sort of my game plan at this point. I don't know. It's crazy. There's a lot of work that has to be done before I get to that point, but I don't know. It's Friday. Murphy's hanging out. He's got to go lobstering tomorrow. If anybody's ever listened to the podcast, the last show that we did was Heath, Murph, and Jerome overserved. That was a lot of fun. So you may want to check that one out. But essentially, it's Friday, and I do want to do a little bit of work on the mast, but we pulled like a 10-hour day today. So I feel like we've already accomplished enough for me to have a cocktail. Cheers. It's Friday. Mm. Oh my gosh. Like, I can't wait to take a shower and wash this filth off of me. Oh man, what a week. It does feel good though. I will say that. It feels really good to have done all the stuff that we did this week. And it was crazy. On Monday, we pulled a huge day, and I'm just thinking to myself, how am I going to get through this week? This is going to be miserable, because you sort of know the schedule. People have to schedule hauling their boats out in advance, and so we sort of know like when we're ready to really have to push it out. But today we were down a person, so there were only three of us, but we were able to sort of pick up the slack, which was nice. And yeah, holy cow, we just went for it. And now it's relax time, sort of. Once I finish this and go check that lobster boat, and then I'm gonna go hang out with Murph, and then who knows? It's Friday. Who knows what's gonna happen? The possibilities are endless. When I was a young man, Friday nights were always, well, I suppose Fridays, you know, in my late 20s all the way through my 30s, I was working in the Caribbean. And when I was down there, I worked essentially almost every single day. And so there was really no Friday, didn't really make much difference. It's pretty much every time is a party night in the Caribbean. I don't know if anybody's ever been down there before, but it's wild when you work in a place where everybody that's visiting is on vacation and just wants to rage as much as they can. Then you sort of get wrapped up in it no matter what. It's almost impossible to sort of just be able to separate yourself from that vibe. That's why the Caribbean can be a pretty dangerous place. If anybody ever wants to go and head down there and work, at a resort or for a charter company or something like that, be advised. It sometimes takes a lot of willpower to be able to continue on without just completely losing it. I've had a few people that have worked for me personally that came down from the States. And within 6 months, that was it. They were done. There was one guy who showed up one day all bloodied and bashed. He had fallen right on his face. In the British Virgin Islands, there's not a lot of rules about drinking and doing things, and you kind of have to just look out for yourself, which I think is really the way it should be. But for a lot of Americans, it's not so easy. It's like a little too much freedom sometimes to just be able to. I mean, like I've rented scooters with a beer in my hand, that sort of thing. All right, I'm gonna end the stream. Sorry, just gonna record this as a podcast now. Already did, but this internet connection is just no good. I just can't do this here at the boatyard. I'm just gonna have to put it out as a podcast. So thanks for watching, the couple of you that were, and hopefully we'll get it all sorted out. But happy Friday, and hopefully everybody has a good weekend. And big of a challenge for anybody. Something I'm going to definitely do. I'm going to call at least 2 old friends that I have not talked to in a long time each day this weekend, starting tonight. So by the end of this weekend, by Monday, I will have sort of reconnected with 6 friends. And I think that's going to be pretty worthwhile in the end. So other than that, signing off, YouTube. All right, there we go. That's the end of that one.